Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Envelop podcast. I'm your host, Eugene Creeper MC, and today we're gonna have sort of Latin America episode because I'm having Nicole Pabello. She's managing director at Latin America at Amber Group, and you might have known about Amber Group. It is amazing big structure. It's a leader in digital asset trading products and infrastructure. They help individuals, institutions, and brands to produce, to trade, to collect, and invest in digital assets. So Amber acts as liquidity providers, miners, and validators on all major exchanges, applications, and networks. It consists of more than 1,000 of professionals. This is an amazing structure. So, Nicole, it's great honor and pleasure to have you on our podcast. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, Eugene. Thank you so much for having me. I'm super happy to be here.
It will be very pleasant to know your personal story in Web3 space. How did you start in this amazing journey and what have you already done?
Sure. So I actually started back in 2016, just researching about new economies. At the time, I was very interested in fintech as a whole, not even really comprehending to the full extent what neobanks were developing, but I just knew that technology was going to disrupt a lot of financial services at the time. And then I was introduced about the word blockchain. So I was like, okay, this is interesting. This is definitely part of this disruption that I'm interested. And then later on, I actually started working in Hong Kong in a small local exchange. But actually at the time, it was like a leading exchange for like new listings. At the time, the hype world at the time was ICOs. And so it was like a leading raise funder for ICOs. So basically like crowdfunding and helping people like retail pledge through their platform as well. So to get there, we really needed to understand like the concepts and why would we put that in front of clients. So like all the due diligence part that comes along with investing, basically, which is the same thing as investing in as a venture capital, etc. Just like making sure like you understand really well the technology. So this was right after the launch of Ether, that obviously Ethereum, that obviously created a whole market for decentralized applications. So that's how I started, like basically doing due diligence and research for decentralized applications who were launching their own tokens, who were launching their own crypto. Now, a lot of them are famously known as some layer ones. At the time, they were just like new blockchains, ICOs, etc. So that's a little bit about me.
This is an amazing journey. So I do remember, not so well, but I started crypto my journey in 2017 and you in 2016. So it was so early, and now it is so early for all the major stuff. Those times it was just the beginning of the story. Yes, pleasant to remember. Well, before we touch Amber, you fill some roles in other projects. Give us the whole picture. In what projects, in what roles are you involved with for now in Web3?
So actually, most of my background has been in centralized exchanges. So I started in a centralized exchange. Then I'm from Mexico. I was in Hong Kong, so I moved back to Mexico and I started working with Bitso at the time. So it was just before they closed round A. So it was like very early starts of them. And then that my main core vision was and goal was to actually expand markets and make sure like our markets were to global standards, being a regional exchange. And then I moved into LatAm, which is a borrow lending platform based out of Canada. I'm currently in Amber. So my experience is more like developing markets, understanding like very well the niche of the industry and how that can bridge into retail, institutional clients, high net worth individuals, and how we can enable them through our products.
Well, it seems to me that Amber, this is the big structure, acts as a sort of general middleman between the world of digital assets, which is understandable for the little percent of people, and before the world of businesses, brands of people who are the mass people who do not really understand what's going on there. And am I correct? And what exactly Amber does? Because it seems to me it does everything regarding digital assets. Amber is everywhere. What exactly Amber does and how it acts?
Yeah, this is one of the most exciting things about Amber, but also like we could spend here the whole podcast just speaking about all the projects and all the verticals that Amber has. So basically starting up on how they were built, right? Like back in the day, 2017, it started as a market maker, right? And of offline trading. So at the time, the problem that they were trying to solve was the liquidity fragmentation. As I mentioned, and as you remember from 2017, around the corner, there were so many interesting projects launching, and there were so many exchanges as well growing globally, right? So what that caused is that since there was not enough retail and institutional investors and basically people transacting with it, and there was like the nature was a little bit more like holding, that really created a lack of liquidity where someone wanted to buy something. There was like not enough activity and dynamism in the market to actually enter at a fair price of buy and sell. So at the time, the main thing solving was liquidity. When you, if you understand a bit more on how a market maker works, the main thing that they need to work on is like risk management and all the processes and all the technology to do so at millisecond time, right? Like more like granular than granular. So they started building all of these sophisticated systems, connecting to multiple trading venues, providing liquidity. So if you think about it, it was a more B2B kind of offering. But then after that, you start scaling, the industry started scaling. It exploded in 2018, then again in 2020. And then we're here now with like high profile people saying like they hold an NFT or they have their own collection or they are destined 10% of their companies to hold Bitcoin. You know, like we have this massive growth, which meant a lot of necessity for different types of products. So as in for now, Amber has their own user interface platform that is called Whalefin, for whale, the animal, finance. So Whalefin, but this is like a all-in-one shop. You can hold your NFT there. You can mint as well. If you haven't, I really suggest you going download the app and play with the gamify experience that we have for creating your NFTs or holding your NFT there. Then we also have the whole part that is like more towards investment bank-like features, where obviously depending on your jurisdiction and all of the KYC, AML procedures, Amber has around 11 licenses around the world. So depends on like local jurisdictions, rules, etc. You might be able to swap tokens, trade, do earn products and staking. So we really differentiate from one to the other. Is people tend to mix and match, but it's very clear when you're staking your tokens through Amber or when you're just putting them on an earn product, which ultimately means that we are using those tokens to enter on neutral market neutral activities to generate yield on your behalf, right? Like the similar way what you would do in a bank. You put your money to work and the bank is the one who's working those assets. So we have those features. We have more elaborated features now with upside notes. We have as well dual currency notes. So it goes like the area of products that we can offer is very wide. We also have our OTC where we can help you entering or exiting large positions as well, like with hedging with the price, especially with the latest months that they have been extremely volatile, which is the nature of the industry. But these months have been a bit crazier, we can also help clients to mitigate the risks.
Okay, please clarify two moments, crucial moments. Does it all mean that Amber is a custodial centralized structure? It keeps assets of clients and private keys in itself. Is that correct?
So in a nutshell, yes, we are a centralized entity. So yes, we are.
Okay, no problem. And second, does Amber aim to cover all the world? Because you have Latin America, Middle East, Pacific, Asia Pacific, and so on and so forth. So Amber is a global structure, aims to cover all the world, right?
Yes, we have coverage 24/7 as the nature of trading. And right now, I think we have people in every single continent.
Absolutely. Yes. Okay, so talking about your personal task, what tasks and goals you are specifically responsible for in Latin America, and what exact countries do you cover in Latin America? It starts with Mexico till Chile and Argentina till Falkland Islands or till Antarctica or what? By the way, okay, to take about it, then I ask you about what is Latin America about crypto. So tasks in Latin America.
Sure, I will start by saying Latin America is, as you mentioned, everything from Mexico down to the South Cone. So it's basically from central, well, Mexico is considered North America geographically, but from Mexico down. So yeah, those are the territories that I covered. The mission, it's very product oriented, but also always client focused, right? So we have different missions between like doing sales coverage and making sure like our clients are well covered throughout the day, and as well growing our piece of the market share in Latin America. So obviously that comes with a lot of challenges, which means like in every country there's different regulations, there's different modus operandums, I guess, how to say it. We need to have different KYC requirements, so that like product descriptions, product releases, they might look different from one place to the other. And as well, one huge task is that we want the product to feel like your one shop. As I mentioned, like we have such many products, so that the goal is that when you open your app, it really feels like the home of your crypto, right? So that means that also like the localization of the product has to be done, because someone in Europe is not gonna be interested at the same products or the same items probably that someone in Argentina. So it's also like localizing the product for Latin America.
Okay, so Latin America is very renowned region, the part of the world, I would say, in the crypto industry, because these are developing countries with the very bad financial disciplinaries of their governments. Everybody knows about inflation in Venezuela, Argentina, so on and so forth. And that means that people in this country clearly understand the advantages of crypto and the level of adoption. It's been historically very high in Latin America. So is that correct? What the rest of the world should know about the crypto adoption in Latin America?
Yeah, I actually love that you mentioned both Venezuela and Argentina as core examples. You have other ones like Salvador and etc., but I really like to focus on Venezuela and Argentina. So the case of Venezuela has been like globally disastrous with many items, right? And then you have this group of people who realize that they could mine very cheaply. So it's not only crypto as a whole being a use case, but also like creating new ways of income directly from mining. And so that kind of like new economy, for me, that's like a complete use case by itself. Then, for example, in Argentina, that I've spent a lot of time there and growing that market, and I'm very passionate specifically about this market. So please interrupt me if I go full on. It's very interesting because you actually like go and this has been like 4 years ago, 3 years ago, you go in the street and you're in a Uber, you're in a taxi, and people already knew about it, right? Like now it's likely that someone have heard about it because it has exploded in the news, but back in 4 years ago, they were already transacting with it. They were like, no, don't pay me with credit card, the fees, the time on the bank, like I have my wallet. And I was like, but I don't have cash. They're like, no, but not that type of wallet. So like they were already using peer-to-peer as a way of safeguarding against inflation, but also against like putting money with the government or paying more fees that they should have, that they just like peer-to-peer, right? Like, so that's where like topics of like scalability and making sure like peer-to-peer actually works without being at a high cost comes into very notable for it to scale as a use case, right? That's another subject. But in terms of Argentina, like because out of necessity, among Argentinians, they often say that they are all economists because they really live day to day on hedging their own income to make sure like at the end of the month when they have to pay bills and when they receive their money, they can actually afford them, right? So, and because of the lack of trust, because of many historical things that happen in Argentina with banks, most of them still prefer to, quote unquote, really have the money under the mattress, right? Which then creates a security issue at your home if everybody is keeping it there, because then you just break in, right? So what cryptocurrency does is that you still have that access and you have that ownership that doesn't rely on anyone. And yet again, you don't have to be worried about someone breaking into your house. So the use cases of crypto in a country as Argentina, I think is worth as a use case, but also like as a study case, right? In order to be able to scale and replicate this.
Well, so let's finalize here your business. It's time to make all the call to actions because you are aiming to develop a business in Latin America. And now a lot of people in Latin America will be watching this podcast because our CMO, Jonathan, is in Brazil right now. So Jonathan, greetings for you. So Latin America is region. So please make all the statements, all the announcements, all the call to actions. Whom do you need in Latin America? What should they do? How to reach you for business proposals regarding Latin America and crypto?
Yeah, I mean, I'm always available by LinkedIn. I think it's the easiest way to contact me. I'm always posting things about related or anything that I found interesting on my LinkedIn. So feel free to follow me or add me as a friend, and then we can stay in touch. I think for this year, for Latin America, we prefer to have like this steady growth in multiple areas, such as our NFT. So we just launched our open burst platform within the same Wealthing. We have the partnerships with the Chelsea team and as well Atletico Madrid. We have like several team players. We're actually from Brazil, Argentina, and Uruguay. So we'll be creating like some content there. And also like something coming up very exciting on the NFT area there. And so, I mean, if you're into NFTs, like this is a space you need to watch for. Apart from that, I think the whole year and the first few months or last quarter was very volatile. And I think it made us rethink to a lot of companies how we wanted to be portrayed in the long term. And I think that also comes within the part of building stronger bases, which is like regulation, compliance, and many other items. I think it's more like on the back quiet side that we will be focusing on. Nevertheless, that's progress. But nothing specifically to Latin America to announce at this stage.
Well, so guys, you do understand what to do. So it's easy to find Nicole by links in the description, her LinkedIn, and she's also tagged everywhere you have found this post on social media. So let's dive in into Web3, Nicole. What are your main thoughts on Web3? Why does it matter? How do you see the future? How Web3 will inevitably change our world? How do we live? How we do business in upcoming, let's say, 10 years?
Sure, I like the time frame of 10 years. Because thinking about like a technological revolution, I think it takes a lot of time to actually build a product that is user-centric. And always example that I say is like, you probably didn't understand how the fax worked or internet, but you just know you need to be connected to it to be able to even have this conversation, right? So I think all the technology related to blockchain and Web3 need to reach to that level where you don't really need to care how it works to actually like be in interaction directly or indirectly or in your background for it. So I think that is going to be the most exciting part, where users don't know they send a remittance from US to Mexico. They just went to their local shop and it happened instantly because it was through blockchain, right? Like that is the type of disruption that I'm looking forward to, like cross-border payments, use cases with low cost and low entry barriers. I think that's the thing that excites me the most. Obviously, there are other items like less techy, such as NFTs, such as like your digital persona on the metaverse and all of that. I am not so acquainted, to be honest, with all of these things. I know they're exciting. I feel the excitement, but I think these are complete different use cases. One, for some reason, the NFTs are more tangible, the uniqueness of them and the fact that they have been widely used for art make them so easy to digest and so visual. So I think they serve one type of purpose. And then on the other side, we have stable coins, and then we have like faster technologies and blockchains to enable payments, to enable decentralized finance. So people feel like, and not only feel, but actually have ownership of their money, right? And entering a loan where you don't have to rely on people, you just have to rely that the oracle was well coded, right? And not only the oracle, but the whole system. So those are the things that two different items that I'm very interested in see how they developed medium to long term. I think the short term is quite clear that there need to be a lot of regulation and a lot of sophistication on the products. I expect to see like less hacks happening in DeFi the same way. And the way I see it to people is like when they like, oh, there's so many hacks, it's not safe. If you think about it, the early days of the exchanges, most of the exchanges got hacked, right? 2016, every 3 weeks there was a hack. 2017, a lot of ICOs got hacked. And then this is why everyone was like, not your keys, not your money. Do not trust exchanges. And it's not because exchanges were not to be trusted. It was like the security and the infrastructure was not to the highest standards yet. Nowadays, it's very rare to hear exchange getting hacked, right? And if they get hacked, they have all the protocols, so it doesn't really make a dent on their day-to-day operations, right? So I think the evolution is also seeing this sophistication and this maturity into DeFi protocols that will then assure the next wave of people who are interested in interacting with them directly or not. So those are the things that I'm really interested in seeing. Those developments, that sophistication, that new wave of technology that feels more robust. Yeah, I think those are the things that I want to see within the next 10 years.
Absolutely. You said a lot about NFT, you mentioned them a couple of times, and I love to ask you a professional question because of people were quite disappointed about the lack of utility of NFT. That's why they had invented the term selling JPEGs. I not agree with that, but nonetheless, market shows us because of this disappointment. And that's why a lot of being said right last time about a so-called smart NFT or NFT of second generation. This is a quite clear concept, in particular Envelop has been developing this. It looks like we take an NFT, we add some fungible tokens as a collateral for price predictability, and we wrap it up with the new set of features such as time lock, event lock, royalties, rental mechanics, and all these technically give us the same NFT with another set of features, which is quite useful in dozens of use cases, starting from selling tokens of startups in the form of wrapped NFT. It's called SAFT. to play there, into rental mechanics, a lot of things. We are trying to explore the potential answer. What are main thoughts on this software or of this smart NFTs or NFTs utility, how NFT will be used in upcoming 10 years? Give us all your thoughts on this building blocks of Web3, like we call NFTs.
Okay, so for NFTs in specific, I think they've already done a great job. And I always like to bring it down to earth, and I'm gonna give the most close to my home and heart example, right? So my husband, until like 4 months, I don't know how many months, he didn't care about my crypto journey, right? Like, and we've been together for so long, and I'm a crypto enthusiast, and I'm always talking about it. And he was like, yeah, but for me, it's not tangible. I really don't understand. I understand like some sort of like new financial product, and that's where you lose me. And then, but he's a football fan. And so he grew up like understanding like, you know, cards from like a player that some are more interesting than others, and they're collectible, and at some point they will have like a unique value in time. So he understands those concepts really well. So when NFT exploded with this uniqueness and and also with a lot of partnerships with football players, with all of these, he could completely understand the uniqueness of the ERC. What's the ERC 71?
Yeah, 71, yes, right.
Yeah. So he could understand the uniqueness of this token, of this non-fungible token, right? And because of that, he was able to then understand the opposite, right? Like the non-fungible tokens. So it helped him translating from something that even if he's not going to grab it and it's just a JPEG, he understands there's not such a thing as just a JPEG, because there's not such a thing as just like a card and then you can copy it, right? So he was able to translate into like the bigger stuff. So I think they have done an amazing job so far, because it helps the industry and it helps narrowing down those ideas. So that being said, I do think that the use case of art and uniqueness is very niche, and coming from more like financial like products, I think it brings a uniqueness as well for trading metals or trading different types of things through the blockchain, through that uniqueness, all verifiable in life, right? Like, so I think that is still a lot to be explored. I know a lot of people are thinking of how to maximize now these like new marketplaces and how bring liquidity into these, or how to take advantage of the lack of liquidity. So I think within those, I say flaws of the market, I think there's going to come opportunities for people to start building products to solve those issues. I liked it to compare it to when Amber was trying to help exchanges to bridge that lack of liquidity. I believe like that would be as well like a natural evolution into building liquidity for these assets, although it's quite different because the uniqueness is what makes them rare, but also scarce, so also illiquid. So I think there's a lot of work to be done there. I honestly don't know how this is gonna shape into something else. If I knew, I would just be coding it right now, or learning how to code so I can code it right now. But no, like I don't have a further, more elaborate answer for this.
Amazing. So you are learning to code.
I am in my free time, but I don't have so much free time, so I'm not learning very fast.
So this is the part of the learning strategy, because learning coding is the deepest way of understanding how Web3 works. How would you suggest to people, for newcomers, to learn about Web3? Because being on Web3 requires a lot of learning on an everyday basis, podcasts, blogs, and so on and so forth, huge amount. How would you suggest to learn Web3?
Well, I think this is one of the items I really love about this industry. But I say love with a lot of passion. You know, like when I entered this industry, everything was self-learned. There's so much material. There's so many people spending times and hours of publishing their reports, publishing their research, It just takes, and I'm a big fan of doing your own research, right? Like I absolutely hate, and all my friends hate me for it, but I absolutely hate when they're like, where do I put my money? I will always reply to your own research, right? It takes dedication and time, definitely, certainly, but it's something that you would do the same if you were choosing stocks, right? If you were investing in a home, you would spend time to see the land, the features, the price, everything, right? So I think this industry has done a really good job with transparency, with information, with research. You can spend like 1 hour in Twitter and you can already kind of like have a good sense of who's producing really elaborate documents and really in-depth analysis that can help you. So I would say like even like how they call it crypto Twitter, like a really good research. Amber itself always publishes reports as well. So if you want to start with something like very digestible, very understandable, for example, we just published as well a report on the merge. So it's quite digestible. It's like what's happening, what is exactly like the migration from proof of work to proof of stake, period, right? Like without any controversies, without all of the noise. So it really helps people digest what exactly is the hype. So I would say like they can start with our own research from Amber, but as well like just navigating through the web and have a bit of criteria on who's hyping something or who is just putting out facts.
Well, what's the best way to start being a member of Amber community? Where to join, where to follow?
Absolutely. So we have our Wealthing platform that you can just find it by logging into wealthing.com. You can also search more about Amber on ambergroup.io. So both websites are very accessible. They're in multiple languages. One will get you directly to sign in. It's a very simple, straightforward KYC, like know your client, put in your details, submitting your ID to verify that it's really you who wants to create the account. It shouldn't take more than 10 minutes, to be honest. I encourage everyone to just go and dive in. We have as well like our index-like products. So we have our DeFi one that with one click you can send funds to a pre-made distribution of some index tokens as well for like the blue chip, which is Bitcoin majorly and Ether. So it helps you really like diversify your portfolio with 1-2 clicks. So I encourage everyone to go and just get familiarized a little bit.
So it's easy to find all the links in the description of this video. Start to work with Amber. It's easy to find Nicole because she's tagged and also mentioned in her LinkedIn there. So remember 3 words from our episode: uniqueness, digital rarity, and self-learning. These words will conduct you in this amazing and very fast developing Web3 space. So thank you very much, Nicole Pabello, Managing Director, Latin America at Amber Group, and me, Eugene Crypto MC, we're ready on this episode of the DeWeb podcast. Please like, share, subscribe, and stay tuned for next episodes. We deliver you unique talks with minds, brilliant minds, who made this industry by their minds, and they handsome. Even you see, this amazing lady learns to code. This is amazing. I'm absolutely amazing with that fact. Thank you very much. Stay tuned for next episode. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Blockchain. BLOCK chain. Digital money, smart contracts, NFT, IDO, decentralization, transparency. So many opportunities, but so many challenges. Some financial manipulators, by their actions, confuse blockchain solutions and block their development. The idea that the blockchain should bring copyright and royalties protection to the next level is quite old. But the realizations of these ideas are not perfect at all. There is another problem of determining the value of a particular cryptocurrency or NFT. These and other problems need to be solved. Fortunately, the blockchain infrastructure is evolving. My name is E, Mr. E, and I represent the Envelop project. Many things have already been invented in the blockchain today. Tokens, smart contracts, platforms for creating your own coins, NFTs, exchanges for buying, selling, and exchanging all these blockchain resources. Envelop is another step in the development of crypto technologies, the protocol that works with NFT and cryptocurrencies. The idea is simple but disruptive. Let's assume you have an NFT, Bitcoin and Ethereum. Using the Envelop protocol, you can wrap the original NFT accompanied with several tokens. Technically, you get a similar NFT, but what is the breakthrough here? Once wrapped, the token has a number of additional features that were not available before. The minimal cost appears. It is provided with coins wrapped together with NFT. An asset wrapped with Envelop has a number of properties that allow the original author to receive royalties from the resale of that asset. Various rules can be applied to the wrapped token. For example, a lock period for unwrapping. It secures the asset till the determined moment or safeguards it from speculation during the hype period. At the same time, wrapped tokens can be transferred and traded. These are just some of the scenarios for using Envelop. NFTs become more popular, and the tools provided by Envelop expand the opportunities of NFTs utilization. Wide application possibilities are achieved due to the fact that, in addition to the protocol, the project includes a number of subsystems. The protocol provides functions wrapping and unwrapping. Oracle Mechanics provides asset valuation using analytical algorithms. Index provides a summary assessment of several NFT assets with the common criteria. The project has its own token, which connects all elements of the system. Altogether, this is Envelop, a tool in the blockchain world for building modern and secure systems in various fields. Find more info about the project on the website. Envelop. Make your NFT valuable. Just practical, no hype.